What's going on, guys? Besides here, and into this video we will learn from one of the best AD carries in the world, Viper. This player was playing like a god in the last years.
Puts on the pool, but is there enough damage? They're gonna try. They ult over the top, and it's already a 2-for-0. Viper doesn't die, but one finally comes through. It's up to Jackeylove, but he gets stunned. Clutch from Tarzan, but Morgana can't find it either. Viper stays alive. That's the full pentakill.
His level of gameplay can be compared with Gumayusi, Ruler, Deft and others. How does he do it? What are his secrets? Today we are going to learn how he completely smashes Korean Challenger with these tricks. If this is the first time on my channel, welcome. My name is Bizais and I'm a League of Legends coach with over 8 years experience in this game, picking Challenger in Season 9. On this channel I will post videos for players that want to improve hard. So if you want to make sure 100% that you don't miss out any amazing content that will happen on this channel and you want to get better 10 times faster, go ahead and subscribe, like and hit the notification bell to not miss out anything. Enjoy the video. So the first thing that Viper does, he knows what champ to pick. So right now he's on the second pick. In this meta, you know that there are a few AD carries that you can blind pick, especially like Ashe, Ezreal, Varus. You can blind pick even MF in some of the situations. Caitlyn is very good blind pick. Zeri can work. Jhin is okay blind pick. So there are a lot of AD carries that can be blind pickable. Right now Viper has more freedom because even if he picks a bad pick, blind pick like Samira or Sivir or maybe even Kai'Sa, or even Zaya, it's not even that bad because yes, he can pick right here, he can pick like Kai'Sa or he can pick like a bad AD carry like Nila blind pick, but it's okay if you pick Kai'Sa blind pick and then they will pick counter, but on the fourth pick you have a support that can actually help you to recalibrate the matchup. So if you pick Kai'Sa, yes, Kai'Sa is a bad blind pick fundamentally, but if your support picks Nautilus, then it doesn't matter because the matchup is still good no matter who are you playing against. So the rule of thumb is like the champion select is important. You want to pick a good champion in champion select, but definitely if your support is under the fourth pick and he can just change the matchup, it's okay to blind pick a bad AD carry. Like he pick Kai'Sa now, they will pick counter. Varus is a good champion into Kai'Sa, Alistar is a good champion into Kai'Sa, but if the support has a brain, of course he's going to pick a good champion that will help you to win the matchup. For his rune page, he opts for Little Tempo, he goes for Triumph, he goes for Bloodline, he goes for Cut Down, and then he goes for Inspiration with the Biscuits and the Cosmic. The reason why he goes Little Tempo is because the Little Tempo is good in early and especially better in the late game. Halo Blades is still playable, but if you know the game is going to last long, then you should definitely go for Little Tempo, and Little Tempo is more consistent in my opinion. And then he goes for Triumph because this is just preference. Presence of Mind is also good, but he just prefers Triumph. Bloodline is just a must on Kai'Sa because you don't buy lifesteal items in the later stages, so getting the percentage of lifesteal later on is going to help. And then Cut Down is also a preference. Some pro players prefer Coup de Grace. The reason why he goes Cut Down is because he plays against Alistar and he thinks that he's going to be pretty tanky, so he just gets it. Coup de Grace is also okay. And then of course he's playing in Korea, so he opts for a page with Inspiration, Biscuits, so he has more mana, more HP, so he can fight more. Of course, if you play on AOS, NA or other servers and you like, let's say, Domination, or you just like a Resolve, that's also okay, but this is what Viper prefers. Okay, in this position, he does have Kai'Sa and he does have the Gragas. So this is an all-in lane against Tristana and Alistar. Tristana goes for Little Tempo, which is the same reason. Again, she can go for Halo Blaze, but she prefers this Little Tempo because it's more consistent for the late game. In the late game, Little Tempo is highly superior. And then Alistar just goes for Glacial, which is normal. He doesn't need to be too tanky because he has his ultimate, so Aftershock is not even an option. So he's probably going to go either Longsword or Blade. But since he's playing against Alistar, he goes for Blade. The reason why he goes for Blade here is because the Blade gives him the extra 80 HP. So the first thing that Viper does is like he's going and covering this angle because he wants to make sure he doesn't get invaded, and he knows that Kai'Sa level 1 is pretty weak compared to the Kai'Sa. So Tristana is pretty weak against the Kai'Sa, so this is why Viper is trying to pressure out the Tristana, but right now he knows that he can't go too greedy since Alistar could be over the wall trying to flash on Viper's ass. He goes for the leash, and we're going to see how a pro player is going to leash the jungle. So he's going to use his Q and he's gonna do his 5 auto attacks. He also wanna use his Q because his Q is just 55 mana, so by the time he gets back to the lane phase, he's going to have the mana almost fully charged. Notice what he did right here. So as he's going into the brush, he's slowly moving back just in case they are going for cheese. He lets the Gragas tank, he lets the Gragas be his bodyguard, and then he beautifully face checks after the Gragas is going to be more confident and face check it himself. Notice in this position how aggressive he is and how well he knows how to punish his enemy. So in this position he goes into the laning phase and he immediately, the first thought that he has is that, hey, I want to punish this kid on the Tristana. I want to punish this kid on Tristana because I know that Alistar is fucking useless at level 1, and as Kai'Sa I can almost always pressure the Tristana with my auto attacks and with my Q. And this is what he does. As he's trying to get the push with his Q, he is also trying to get the auto attacks on the Tristana. Of course, the most important thing is pushing the lane, but as he's using the Q on Tristana, he can also push the lane beautifully. So this is what Viper does right here. He just looks to pressure the Tristana every single time when he can. Notice that even Tristana puts the E on him and he doesn't even care because he knows that his Q is very close to come, and then he's going to go on Tristana. This is how well he knows his limits. And notice what Tristana did right here. Why is this Tristana flashed right here? This looks like boosted. No, it's not boosted. So he knew that the Gragas, check this out guys. So look very closely at the Gragas. This guy has his E, right? So he's moving in, he's walking up, he's looking, he's posturing against Tristana. Tristana sees this. Gragas is looking to flash. You see this? Gragas is not looking to E the Alistar. He's constantly tunnel vision on the fact that he's about to flash on Tristana. Tristana sees this because this is Challenger 1K LP, Korean Challenger. So people know how to play the game. So this is why Tristana flashes immediately, boom, and it looks like boosted, but it is not really boosted. She anticipated the fact that Gragas could have just instantly flashed on her, and once you got flashed on, you can't flash out. It's either you anticipate it and you flash to prevent it, or you don't flash at all because you're gonna get stunned. And then, of course, some of you might say, okay, but she wouldn't die. Yeah, she wouldn't die, but she would get chunked. And if she gets chunked really hard, the laney phase is harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. So this is why he does it. And for those of you that don't know, the stun, any knock up, any sort of CC that is going to be put on the Tristana or Alistar is going to provide a stack of passives for the Kai'Sa. So if Gragas is going to eat the Alistar right now, the passive of the Kai'Sa is going to go on him for 1 stack. So at every source of stun that you put on Tristana, you increase the chances of Viper, of Kai'Sa, using her passive, the 5th shot extra damage. Notice what they did right here. So they are looking at the body language of the Alistar, and this Alistar is extremely smart. So he's walking up, he's tasting the water. He wants to fake walk up, it is called. It's called fake pressure. So right now, Viper is supposed to actually back off. He's supposed to push this way because he's in a really bad position right now. It's close to their tower, and he also has 4 minions against 3 minions, right? So he needs to crush. But Alistar does a very smart thing. Alistar acts like he walks up. He acts like the jungle is behind him, and this is why Viper is hella scared right now. It's because it's Challenger, and in Challenger people know how to play. So this is why Viper immediately backed off, and even Gragas is even flashing out. Even though he didn't know where is the enemy jungle, immediately they will ping the Tribush. As we can see right here on the minimap, they're instantly pinging the Tribush because he knows that Alistar had a plan there. He knows that Alistar wanted to do something because of one reason, but no, in this specific case, it wasn't that. Alistar wanted to fake pressure. Don't do this in home. It doesn't work in bronze, it doesn't work in silver, it doesn't work in gold. Even in master tier, it's hard to do. Maybe in grandmaster challenger you can do it, but usually it doesn't work for you. Okay, another team fight starts right here, 2v2, and the Viper is immediately going on the target using his single target Q, using his W immediately when he does have the passive up. Notice what Viper does right here. So he uses his W exactly when he knew that he can proc the passive. So the W is going to put 2 stacks of the passive of the Kai'Sa. So what he did, he put he basically puts two stacks of the Kai'Sa's passive right here, and he knows that W is gonna be proccing it, so this is what he does. He's using the W so he can proc the passive and do as much damage as possible. Now he's kiting very, very closely. So notice what he does right here, guys. So he knows that he wins this. So he wants to kite upwards because he knows that after Tristana is going to get a kill on the Gragas, she's going to jump like this. So what Viper does, he immediately moves up. So he gives Tristana no chance to run. Is Tristana going to jump towards the tower? I mean, she could, but then she's already going to die. So Viper is going to get a kill. And what should Viper do in this position? Where it's very, very simple. He should recall. The reason why he should recall is because he does have a favorable state. The wave is coming into him. How do we know? It's easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minions against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 minions, 8 minions. The 8 minions are more than 6 minions, meaning that the wave is pushing into him. And Viper has 1100 gold, so if he wants to go for Dirk, which is a very good power spike item for the Kai'Sa, he can do it. This is why he is recalling. Of course, in this case, even if the wave was slow pushing into him, if he had, let's say, 900 gold only, he would probably crush the wave anyways. He would probably screw up the wave just so he can get a better base. But in this specific case, he knew that he has enough for the Dirk. And then he knew that wave is coming into him. He had enough for the item, so he didn't stay. Of course, he wouldn't fucking do that if he had only 800 gold and he didn't have enough. He would stay and crush the wave. Notice that he actually gets his pickaxe and dagger. The reason why he does that is because he does not want to get collected in this game. Because if you get collector second item, you're forced to go third item. If they have tanks, you're forced to go Lord Dominic's, but the problem between the problem with the Lord Dominic's third item is that you don't have Infinity Edge, you don't have Navori, you don't have a power spike, a big power spike that is going to give you the crit. So usually if they have tanks, you want to go for Kraken Slayer, Phantom Dancer, Infinity Edge. Do not go Collector. Yes, Collector is very, very good if you can snowball. Collector is very, very good against squishes, but if they have tanks and you go Collector and then you're forced to go Lord Dominic's third item, then you're going to delay your power spike of the third item, which is very, very bad. Notice what Viper does right here and how confident he really was in this position. So his support is getting pranked right here. He's getting engaged on, and he knows, he sees that Alistar is using Q onto the Gragas, and he immediately walks up to hit the Alistar. He knows that they will focus the Gragas, and he knew exactly the limits of their champions. He knew exactly the limits of Tristana, exactly the limits of Alistar, exactly the limits of Sylas. So not only that he had a huge experience playing this fight as Kai'Sa, but he even knew how to play this fight from Tristana perspective, from Alistar perspective, from Sylas perspective. So what can we learn of this is that you need to know bot lane. If you want to be a good AD carry, no one fucking cares that you can play your champion. You need to play all of the 4 champions that are on the bot lane to be able to understand what you should be doing. No one cares that you play Tristana if you have no idea what Kai'Sa does, or Alistar, or Gragas. You are probably not going to win the laning phase as Tristana in this specific matchup. So you need to know that if you want to be excellent on AD carry, if you want to have success on this role, playing other support champions or playing other AD carries will help you to improve your understanding on the game, and you will be able to win more lanes. A big fight is gonna start very, very soon. He gets flashed on, Gragas tries to save him, he Qs, he E's at the same time, and then he backs off. He knows that Tristana has the little tempo onto the Gragas. The Gragas gets flashed on, and right now Viper is gonna lose his flash. He does have 960 gold, and he really wants to recall. What he does is a very, very smart thing right here. Check this out, guys. Wave is coming into him, and he knows that he cannot get dove. He has enough HP to not get dove, and he does have his heal up. The enemies are not here, so he stays to catch up the wave. Another player would actually recall here, but no, he knows that he's not diveable. He's gonna stay to catch the wave, and he can recall afterwards. This is a beautiful thing to do, because not only that he catches this wave, but he also recalls on a cannon, which is very, very ideal if you play solo. Of course, you can't always recall on a cannon. In most of the cases, actually, you can't always recall on the cannon. Let's say you already have the non-quiver, you already have the boots, you already have the shield bow, the kraken, and you're like, hey, should I recall on a cannon? I already have the item. No, doesn't matter. If you have the item, just recall no matter what, even if it's cannon or not. You lose one wave, but it's okay. doesn't really matter that much. You have the big item in base, but if you're in a losing situation like Viper was, you're low HP, and let's say you want to make sure you don't lose as much when the enemy pushes the wave, then you want to recall on the cannon, because as you can see, he recalled on the cannon and Tristana didn't have too much power to push the cannon wave too fast. Therefore, if Viper recalled on a cannon wave, he had time to go back into the laney phase, and since it was on a cannon, Tristana didn't have the power to push the wave, so Viper is gonna catch most of the minions right here. Another display of knowing the limits of Viper knowing the limits of Kai'Sa is the following play. So he stays into the brush right here, and he immediately sees Gragas walking up. So after Gragas walking up, he does a boosted play, but so after he does a boosted play, look what Viper does. So normally what a silver player will do right here, he will just say, oh shit, this Gragas is fucking bad, I can't do anything, bad supports. But what Viper does is very different with this attitude. What Viper does is like, hey, Gragas did a bad play, he misses his E, but in this position, the Alistar just went with the combo on the Gragas, meaning that they will focus the Gragas, so maybe I can use this guy mistake just to force a kill onto the Alistar. So he saw the Alistar use the combo on him, so he knows that there is no reason to back off, and he immediately eat in. Look at this, guys. So instead of saying, oh shit, he's so bad, let him die, no, he tried to follow. We saw that he followed only after the guy with Alistar use his combo, but he did not have the attitude of, okay, my support is so bad, let's see what do. No, he used the fact that his support is bad, and he used it in his advantage. This is what players, pro players especially, they can do. They can take advantages of bad people, either if the bad people are in the enemy team, or if your support does a mistake. You can see this fight is very, very confident. He's actually gonna get a kill right here. Very, 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 very easy. Gets a kill, pushing the wave, and then backs off. He sees that the Gragas goes for a roam on top lane, and now he's very, 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 very scared. He puts a ward into the brush, and then he just W's the Gragas. So in this case, he's very, very respectful on the fact that the Alistar can dive him, and once Alistar just leaves, then he just tries to walk up for the wave. You can see that they are trying to kill the Kai'Sa, but Viper is beautifully outplaying them both and then just laughing on their ass. So the mistake right here was the mistake that the challenger Tristana did here. Check this out. So first of all, the dive was possible if Tristana had the bomb onto the tower. So right now, it's already a iffy if this dive is gonna work. Well, that wouldn't be a problem, since if you have Ignite and Alistar, Tristana still have the damage to win this. So Alistar goes in, and then Tristana just goes for the auto attack, and then she tries to go for multiple auto attacks onto the Kai'Sa. Nothing bad right here. The problem is that the Kai'Sa missed a few auto attacks, and right here we can see that if Tristana would have get another auto attack on the Viper, she would actually get the kill on her. So check this out, guys. This is the following mistake. Probably you didn't see it. So this is when Tristana goes in. So she tries to auto attack right here, and then after the auto attack, she tries to W right here. This looks normal, doesn't it? No, it's not normal. It's normal for a bronze player. For a challenger player, you need to go for an auto reset. What does the auto reset? So for animation cancel, it is called. What is an animation cancel? Let me show you. So this is Gumayusi playing this fight right here. So as he does it, so let's watch it normal speed first, and then you can see it. Maybe you can spot it yourself. So right here, what Gumayusi wants to do is very simple. He wants to animation cancel his auto attack. So right after his auto attacks goes in on Jhin, notice what he does. So right before the auto attacks hits, he tries to use his W, so then he doesn't really waste the time in which he would waste if he just waits for one more auto attacks. Of course, in between auto attacks, you know that there is a timer, right? You can't auto attack infinitively. Like you can auto attack over a period of time with some delays, let's say. So right here, what Gumayusi wants to do is that he wants to use his auto attack, and before, like as the delay is coming, he just wants to use his W like this. So this is what Gumayusi and any pro player that knows anything about Tristana is doing. So let's see what this guy does right here. Very, very bad. So we can see that the Tristana did not do this. Tristana, what she did, she did not use her W. right before the first auto attack hits, what she does is that, as we can see, she went for the auto attack, and after she went for the auto attack, after the auto attack procced on the Kai'Sa, then she used the W. She did not use it before, she used it after the auto attack hits, and this actually is gonna make sure Viper gets a double. It's a very small mistake, but it's Challenger. In Challenger, small mistakes make a difference, because if you would get one more auto attack under the passive with the bomb, the Viper is definitely going to die. So right now, the Kai'Sa has a huge lead. The Tristana would have like a very huge shutdown, but unfortunately Tristana did not know this. Notice what Viper does in this situation. His wave is fully pushed into the bot lane, so he's very easy going to go on mid lane because the wave allows him to do that. He also has his ultimate, and he knows that the Diana ulti can absolutely help him to proc his ulti, so he immediately goes there. As he's going there, he wants to get a few kills, obviously. So right, he does, he's using his E, he's trying to go into the Sylas, he's killing him, and then he's just following Alistar. Notice how he's following Alistar. He's tunnel vision on Alistar right now. Well, at least he makes Victor think that Kai'Sa, because of her body language, look at the body language, guys. Guys, the guy is focusing on the Alistar. Viper wants to make Victor think that he's only thinking about Alistar, but what he does is all of a sudden, after he clicks right here and Victor gets closer, right now Viper is looking at the Victor, he's not looking at the Alistar. Viper is looking at the Victor, even though he clicks here, his eyes are on the Victor. So when Victor gets close, boop, he instantly flashes on him and he just gets a kill. So yes, this is a mind game, this is a Challenger mind game that Viper did, acting like you wanna just kill Alistar and then boop, just flashing onto the Victor. That ends up TPing on the bot lane, so Kai'Sa can still stay on the mid lane. This rotation in low elo, with the fact that you can stay mid lane as an AD carry, don't do this at home, because in lower elos it's harder to group mid lane because your teammates are not gonna know how to play around you. Right here, Viper wants to get the plate, and then he wants to most likely just recall because he has 1.4k gold. The reason why he wants to stay is because Diana wants to take all of the jungle of the enemy. Fiora is also pushing onto the top lane, and Zed is also pushing onto the bot lane. So Viper does not have enough gold for Phantom Dancer, so yes, he has a lot of gold. He should be looking to consider recalling, but since everyone is pushing, his team is pressuring, all of the team is pressuring, he can always consider staying because this is the tempo. Everyone is pushing. You also want to be pushing unless you have Infinity Edge in base or Phantom Dancer or something huge. Right now he does not. He has a Zeal, he has like not big items, so he considers staying right here. Big tip for you guys, that in low elo people are fighting and you don't know, should I follow, should I not follow, I don't know, but it depends. If you're close to the fight, everyone is pushing and you don't have that much gold to get a huge item, you can always consider staying with them. But of course, if you had Infinity Edge in base and you're staying with them, it's probably a boosted move. Also, we were talking a little bit about grouping on the mid lane. Obviously in low elo you should avoid grouping on mid lane with your teammates because especially people think that you should group mid lane after the first tower is gone on the bot lane. That's partially true, and you should do that, especially if you know that by going mid lane you're gonna get a beneficial advantage for you. So let's say you're going mid lane, you're playing Kai'Sa, you're 6-0, and the enemy laner is not that fed, and you know that Alistar, like your support, is following you. That's fine to do, but do not do that if you are Kai'Sa, you're 5-0, but you're gonna be up against a Zed that is 6-0, against a Rengar that is 10-0, against someone that you know you're gonna get smashed on your head and that is gonna kill you. Because if that's the case, you would rather farm on bot lane safely, get the Krags, get to 2 items first, and after you get to 2 items, you're a little bit stronger, and then you can eventually group to mid lane. So avoid grouping mid lane if the laner of mid lane has 1, way too much wave clears that you cannot kill him, or 2, he's way too strong for you and you know that your teammates are not going to support you enough, so it's just better stay on bot lane and just farm until 2 items. Especially if you're very behind, grouping mid lane is very dangerous, because if you're behind any group mid lane, you're probably gonna die since most of the people are just way more ahead than you. Check this decision out, guys. So right here, Viper is looking to go bot lane because he sees that Fiora wants to make a play onto the Victor. But the moment he sees that, he sees the Zed and Diana are already closer to the Yone and making a bigger play around the Herald, around the Diana that has Herald. So Viper is changing his mind and he immediately goes towards the top lane. He has pushed his wave, so this allows him to do whatever the fuck he wants. He can rotate whenever he wants, he can move whenever he wants. He has the freedom to look to go on other lanes because of the fact that he pushed the lane beautifully. So right now this is what he does. One, he knows how to rotate perfectly based on wave states, and two, he knows how to rotate on the good lane that he should rotate, not on the Fiora that is almost there, but on the Diana and Zed that are already making a play and are already under the head of the Yone, fighting the Yone. So he chooses between those two plays. He first fixed the wave, and after he fixed the wave, he beautifully just moved towards top lane to be around. It's not about that he didn't really get an assist there, it's about you need to give yourself the choice. If you want to go in, you are able to go in whether you want or not just stay mid lane and be AFKs. Same thing right here. After this play ends and he pushes the wave, he sees the bot lane fight and he's just looking. That doesn't mean he wants to engage. No, that does mean in case the enemy is gonna get very low and he has a very free, reliable opening, he can always consider going in, but he wants to give him the chance to have the choice of being able to move there, to jump there, to ult there in case he wants it. Crucial for you to understand this. Don't just stay mid lane, chill, AFK. Yes, you're gonna be silver and you're gonna have a lot of farm. If you're silver, gold, platinum, you have 8 farm per minute every game, 9 farm per minute every game, and you're not master tier, you're not high elo, then you're probably farming too much. Then you're probably not knowing when to group. You're probably not knowing when is the right time to group, when is the right time to fight, when is the right time to stay onto the bot lane. Then this is the first indicator that is going to show you if you have a very high farm and you're not doing the most damage in the game, or you're not doing minimum the second most damage in the game, then you're probably not doing it right. You're farming it too much and your teammates are flaming you. If that's the case, then it's probably your bad. So notice what Viper does right here. So he sees that the fight is happening onto the Sylas and the Fiora spot right here, and he's recalling. Should he follow? Well, first of all, we should think about the distance. The distance between him and the fight is relatively big, and he does not have ultimate. Let alone that he does not have ultimate, he doesn't even have too much mana, and he has a huge amount of gold. He can get his power spike, which is Navori. He can get Navori in base, so he definitely wants to recall and not stay. If it was a close fight and he had enough mana, he had ultimate, and he did not have enough gold for the huge power spike Navori, then he would probably consider staying, but in that specific situation, he definitely needed to recall. Notice what he did right here, guys. Did you spot this? So as he's going into the mid lane, he sees Sylas moving into the Fiora. He knows that if Sylas is gonna see the Kai'Sa, then he's just gonna back off. So what Viper does, as Sylas is moving to the Fiora, he knows that if Sylas uses his E and hits it, then he's gonna see the Kai'Sa, and if he sees the Kai'Sa, the Sylas is gonna back off. So what Viper does here is something that challenger players always do. So right now, Viper is actually going back. He's moving back, as you guys can see, in fog of war, so he can just sneak right here. So if Sylas is gonna hit his E, he's gonna keep going like this. So the Viper is gonna prank him. So Viper doesn't want to get seen here. He wants to hide, and then he's using the E to be invisible. And we can see that when Sylas is gonna show up right here in the brush, he had no idea. He was moving like this. He had no idea that Viper is here, and now he's getting pranked. He's like, what the fuck? Where does this guy come from? What the fuck? What? Does this guy have hacks? No. He played around Fog of War beautifully, and in addition of that, he also knew everything about his E. Beautiful play. Right now, the enemy team does Nashor, so let's see how this guy plays it out. So what Viper does right here is first using the W to make sure no one is in the brushes. He's angled it correctly, so in case Alistar is here or here, he will see it. Then he's using the W onto the Nashor, so he sees if the Nashor is low HP or high HP. Why does this matter? Well, it's simple. If the Nashor is 10k, obviously there is no urgency to go in and engage into the fight. You can let Fiora push, and after Fiora is gonna push, he can perhaps rotate. The Baron is gonna chunk more the enemies, and you can just engage when the Baron is 3k, 2k, 3k, whatever you want, and go from there. If the Nashor is 2k already, you gotta go now, man. You gotta go now. So the Nashor is getting popped pretty fast because it's Tristana. So Viper decides to go in. Beautiful what he did, guys. Did you guys see this? So Viper is walking up beautifully. He knows that Alistar is the one that wants to go in, and when Alistar is casting the flash W on him, he immediately preemptively uses the E to become invisible, and then he dodges it. After he dodges it, he beautifully uses the Q, dodging the Yone Q as well. And right here, this is just a montage. He could flash to get the Victor, but he does not give a fuck if Victor is dead or not, because he knows that even if he can flash for the Victor, it doesn't really mean anything. You're not getting anything extra if you kill the Victor right there. The Baron is gonna be up anyways. The Baron is gonna be taken down anyways, whether the Victor is dead or not. But if you have flash in the next fight, then it might make a difference. And notice what this guy does as well. He uses double into the brushes because he knows that Sylas is alive, and he might be sneaky since this is a challenger 1 KLP player. Viper is thinking, hey, I'm challenger. I know that people are challenger, so they will try to steal this. If they steal this, they might have a chance to win the game. In challenger, no. When you're ahead, you don't give other people the chance to win. You wanna win, close the game out, get the lead, don't give them a fucking chance, okay? So simple. So Viper knew this. This is why in bronze, silver, gold, even low platinum, it's so simple to win almost every game. Almost every game, if you're playing, especially if you know what you're doing and you're really good, it's easier to win games. Most of the games, especially if you're smurfing, you can have like 95% win rate because you can abuse people's mistake. And even if, let's say, they have a lead, they will probably throw. But in challenger, it's a lot more different because once you, even in, I would say from master tier, diamond 1 master tier, people, even that though they will still make mistake, they will still throw. They will throw a lot less often than people in lower elo. So once you're behind, you can say that the game is almost over. In like grandmaster, in master, you can say that more often. Beautiful game by Viper. They even ended up FFing. So let's see what we learn from this one. So the first thing that we learn is that you need to pick a good champion in champion select. The Viper picked the Kai'Sa blind pick, which is not necessarily a good blind pick because he knew that the support can actually pick and engage, and no matter what the enemy composition is gonna pick to counter the Kai'Sa, the Gragas or the support can actually pick a champion that is synergized with the Kai'Sa and can just balance out the matchup. My recommendation is that you should have not too many champions in your pool and play around the draft, because in bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, it doesn't really matter that much the draft unless you're like diamond 2 plus, so you shouldn't concern yourself with the draft. But if you have, like, my recommendation is you should have 2 champions that you play, maybe 3 depending on how much time you have to play the game. If you play 5 hours or 4 hours per day, then you can go to three champions. If you don't have that much time, you have less than 4 hours, I would say don't go more than 2 champions. If you really want to improve in this game, 2 champions is perfect. You can pick like Ashe, or you can just have a champion like Vayne or Kai'Sa or Samara, something aggressive that doesn't really work in every situation. And then you can have something like Ezreal or Ashe, something that you can pick in every single game. So my recommendation is that play 2 champions, don't concern too much about the draft. But if you're diamond 2 plus, you should pick a champion that is able to be blind pickable. Here I would pick Ashe, I would pick Ezreal, I would pick stuff like that, because most of the cases your support is not gonna know what to pick because you picked, you know, a champion. The second thing that we learn is that you need to know the limits of every single champion into the lane. So as Viper did in this play right here, he understands that Alistar combo is the main trigger of this gang, and after the Gragas is walking up and he's getting caught and Alistar is using everything on him and the guy is close to him, the Sylas is close to him, Viper doesn't really have any problem to use everything onto the Alistar as he's very safe. So he knew how to play this gang from all of the champion perspective. It's because he played Tristana, he played Alistar, and he played a little bit of jungle as well. So my recommendation for you, if you really want to improve, and whether you are diamond, master tier, or maybe you're bronze right now, you should play a little bit of other champions from your role. So let's say if I'm main AD carry, you want to play other AD carries as well from time to time. Even if it's normals, it will really help you to get a better understanding of the game and win more games. And obviously if you can also play some support, it will be even more beautiful. Jungle playing is luxurious. If you can do it, it's fine, but I would say more AD carries and support is definitely a must if you actually want to become a better AD carry. The third thing that we learned is that having a fundamental Very good fundamental, solid fundamental that shows you when to recall properly is very important. As Viper recalled right here, he knew that exactly 1100 gold is how much he needs for the Dirk, how much he needs for the power spike, and he just looked to get it. He just looked, the wave was coming into him, he understood how much gold he needs, he understood that the wave is coming into him, and he just pressed the B. He didn't even think about anything, so he knew exactly when to recall. Huge important tip for you guys, especially for lower elo, because in bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, the wave management is a huge mistake that I encounter in my coaching that makes people just be hard stuck and don't win game. The next one is having a good map awareness and always be ready to consider moving to the river fights if necessary. So right now, as Viper did right here, he immediately wanted to move to the fight, as we can see his pathing, and then once the fight is still going in, he still moves there. When he sees that the fight is over, he just backs off onto the wave and he prioritizes the wave. But if the fight is urgent and it's not too much distance from you and the fight, and your wave is in a fine spot and you're not losing too much, you can always look to follow. So understanding when you have to follow fights and when you don't have to follow fights is a very crucial thing, whether you are master tier, bronze, iron. You need to know it. If you don't know it, then you're probably gonna lose a lot. Another thing that pro players do is that they are not afraid to test limits and play the game so they can learn it. So right now we can see that Viper immediately goes in, even if he didn't have vision about the enemy jungle, he didn't have vision about many people under the map. He still went in. He wanted to test his limits because he wants to learn. He's here to learn. He plays League of Legends to learn, to improve, to get better. He doesn't just want to play safe or have a good KDA, but he's gonna be still silver. No, he plays the game to learn. So maybe you can also play a little bit more aggressive so you can learn more things in your games, learn your limits, learn how much damage you can do, learn how much damage you can take. It's very, very crucial for you to do that. What about you? What are the mistakes that you're doing normally? Do you have a very good wave management? Do you know when to freeze? Do you know when to move to the fights? Do you know when to group? Do you know? Or do you feel like your games are like 50-50? You feel like this game you win, next game you lose. You have no influence, you can't carry, or even if you're ahead, sometimes the enemy mid laner is gonna carry anyways, so you don't have a big chance to carry because you maybe don't know how to pilot the role too much, or you just simply don't know what macro decisions can be changed in your gameplay to actually win more games. Do you really want to improve? Do you want to climb hard? Well, I'm a League of Legends coach and I already have a huge experience in terms of coaching. So what do you think? What are the mistakes that you're doing? Do you have good wave management? Do you know when to freeze? Do you know when to recall? Or do you even know when to rotate? Do you feel like you have games where it's 50-50? This game you're 10-0, next game you're 0-10, 10-0, 0-10. You have no influence, absolutely no influence. Or even if you have influence and you're winning the lane, it's just the enemy mid lane is going to carry the game. You don't know how to influence the game more, you don't know how to carry. Well, nothing easier. I'm a League of Legends coach and I have over 8 years experience of coaching. 8 years experience, 3,054 hours of coaching. On 80 carry, I coach over 800 people, bronze to challenger. I coach bronze players, silver players. I even got people that got from silver, hardstack to diamond. No, it's not without effort. No, it's not instantly. No, it's with a lot of work and it's with a lot of games. So if you are serious about improving your gameplay, not tomorrow, not the day after tomorrow, not next year, right now, if you really want to put it, you know that you have the time to play this game. Maybe you have 2 hours per day, maybe you have 3 hours per day, or maybe you have 10 hours per week, and you want to get better in this game to enjoy it more, to improve in this game, to get better, to just climb. Nothing easier. Go ahead and book your coaching session and start improving instantly. I'll see you in the session.